Alright, today is an exciting day. We have the V-Line on the LS460. Very similar, almost identical to the GX470. You see our display port here and various inputs and outputs over here. The harnesses are eerily similar. Here we have our display port adapter that goes into the GROM, and then it intercepts the video signal here. So nothing different from the GX installation video. You can pretty much watch that one and know how to do this as well. Here's where it intercepts the stereo, the audio part, and then spits it back out into the factory head unit, or however you want to look at that, vice versa. The only difference is with the LS460, you have to tap in the reverse trigger because that's on a different plug. Why they didn't include the other plug, I don't know. Obviously, the less components there are, the less chances there are for failure. And they probably figured, you can tap in one wire and you don't have to access the entire connector. Speaking of that connector is here. Basically says the V-Line can replicate the stereo display by pretending to be a reverse camera. That's fine for this particular vehicle. Now, this is only 07 to 09. You probably don't have to deal with this in 2010 and up. So one additional wire. So this basically, when you go into reverse, it's going to signal something in the V-Line to switch off, I'm assuming, and then allow the factory reverse camera to work. So it's going to disengage from the Lexus and then, let everything be as normal. This wasn't on the GX. I don't know. It's obviously just a different setup over there. So tap the purple wire labeled REV, reverse, from the supplied interface cable, which I just showed you. And locate pin 13, which is the reverse wire on the original 26-pin connector. So they're giving you the color. It's probably red. It's 13. That should be enough information. All you got to do is tap it in. And they give you a little tapping red Positap thing here. I'm just going to strip it and probably solder it and tape it so it's done permanently. But that's it. That's the only difference between the GX and this one. I mean, a lot of the Lexuses are going to be similar from the same year range. 07 and up, a lot of the stuff's the same. So, next portion, same as the GX video. I'm just going to show you how to get everything out and not break anything, and kind of go over some tidbits and tips on everything here on the Lexus that I found some issues with. So next, I'm going to get into that removal. Alright, so for the removal, step one, this is going to be very similar to any other Lexus model in the GX video that you might have seen already that we posted, but you're probably going to need a 10mm with an extension, Phillips, and then a couple dash trim removal tools. If there's anything else that pops up, I will cover that. But first, you have to remove these side panels here, and they just pop off and the back slides forward. So pop off the front, and then these little sideways tabs lock in horizontally or vertically, or however you want to put it. So we'll just set that aside. Just set that in back. And same on the left side, or the passenger side. If any of these clips break, you can buy them from Toyota or Lexus. You don't have to buy the whole panel. Just FYI on that. These little plastic white clips. If the actual plastic breaks on this, you can actually plastic weld it back together. There's various fenders and whatnot that have plastic welders. That works very well. And then the next step we will get into in just a second. Alright, step two, we have to remove this piece right here. This little plastic trim piece that pulls straight out. Next, we have two Phillips screws, or bolts, because they're also 10mm. This is securing the center console assembly to kind of the frame structure of the center console, if that makes sense. And I like to just put bolts somewhere where they won't get lost. Got to remove the shift knob. pins off, and then I'm going to pull straight up on the center console assembly. This protector in here, this little plastic piece, is available separately. A lot of times these get super hard and brittle and crack, and then you don't have any kind of shield for stuff getting in and falling, you know, inside there. So that you can get separately. And we can just put this to the side. Next is the ashtray and or storage console here. Again, just kind of pops out of there. Now, you might have to do that to move the shifter out of the way. This is again held in by one plug there. Okay. Now we will move on to the center. Alright, next up we've got a screw on each side, and you can see where I'm accessing them here. Just like so. This holds the stereo assembly in. And the same on the other side. Be careful so they don't disappear on you. This is actually a bolt, not a screw bolt. You will also need an 8mm, I realized. So go find your 8mm. And I'm going to attempt to get this one out of here. Just like so. Perfect. Okay, once that's done, your stereo assembly should pop straight out of here. Although, could have some difficulties. Nope. There we go. So you don't want to, this material is very sticky sometimes and very soft, so you don't want to pry in between here, otherwise you'll leave a mark or tear this at worst case. So there's a little bit of space on the bottom. You can kind of get a tool in and then twist. Same on this side. Get that tool in there and just twist it so you can get your fingers in there and pop it out just like that. Okay, and then this, I'll see, this is going to be difficult because I'll just take it out. We've got to get in there deeper to get the navigation screws out. So I'm not even going to mess with it. All these connectors, they just have little push tabs. You push the tab and then pull at the same time. And then it'll come out. And your stereo's free. Okay. Now here's where you're going to need that 8mm. There. There's going to be 2 screws on the far left and then the far right side, way up there. So find those screws and take them out, 8mm. I'm going to get those loose and then we'll be right back. Okay, I got the 2 screws out. They're very small. There's 8mm, or you can use Phillips again. And these 2 screws are the only 2 screws holding this entire assembly in. Now, you need to be careful, like I said, because these top vents, this top trim up here is very fragile and brittle over the years. So you don't want to pry up there and have it break and crumble, because that's what's going to happen to you. Very gently. Again, there's tabs on the bottom, there's tabs on the top. Just work it loose carefully. Don't stick anything in between the dash and the trim, because you're going to ruin your dash more than it's already ruined. This dash was replaced, so it's brand new from the Lexus recall or whatever they had on the sticky dash. And I think Lexus actually broke this piece, so it was replaced. And that's it. It comes right out of there. Now, let me switch angles here. Actually, no, we can do it this way. Alright. So there's a bunch of wires back here. Obviously, disconnect them all. Some wires, some plugs might not have a wire. Just keep that in mind. So you're not searching forever to find, missing wires or whatnot. So that's it. Just remove everything, and your assembly is free. Now I'm going to mention again this foam, because I love talking about my vent foam here. Since this panel is actually replaced somewhat recently, it's actually a picture of what the foam looks like when it's all intact. Just turn this. Oh, that's good. So here you can see how wide that foam goes, and it seals it to the duct. So that's what I'm talking about. And then when you close it, you have that foam sealing the gap between the vent and the duct. So does that make sense now? So when the vent is closed, you're not going to feel air, and that's how it should be. And again, these little clips are available. If you lose them or whatever, you can just call up Toyota and get them. And yeah, so that's all we got. Alright, we've got it running just to test. I think my wire was wrong on this one. It's actually, the video earlier showed the wrong red wire. I think the red wire we need is on the opposite side of the video. Because this connector, I think it's flipped like 180, but yeah, so whatever I said under that green wire earlier, that's not the right wire. It's the opposite side over here. So here is the this is basically the Android Auto or the GROM starting page, or whatever you want to call it. So here you'll see that you can connect to Android Auto, CarPlay, whatever else, Spotify. Like if you don't use Spotify, you can delete it. If you don't use web radio, you can delete it, etc. You can add other stuff here, apps or whatever you want to call them. So you can't really do anything yet at this point. You can either connect to Android Auto and then run everything through your phone. So it's going to use your phone Waze, your phone Google Maps, your phone GPS, etc. But if we want to use this as a tablet, because this is the VLITE 2, so now you're going to have to go to settings over here. It's kind of washed out from the sun, but you get the idea. So once you're in settings here, you're going to go down to, first of all, you're going to connect to either your phone's Wi-Fi hotspot, which typically is a good idea because once the car is moving, you're going to have a hotspot. So cell phone is hooked up to Wi-Fi, or this is hooked up to my cell phone's Wi-Fi. Then you go to System, set your date and time and everything, VLITE System Updates. Okay, now is when you want to see this top one. It says Install G-Apps. Install it. It says they're not here, etc. Whatever, that's fine. It's fine. Install. This is basically going to turn the GROM, this thing, into a tablet for you. Just basically like another cell phone or a like I said, a tablet, Android tablet. You can install Google Play Store and all sorts of apps, and then run it independently of your cell phone. So I'll wait for this to stop downloading and install, and get back to the video. Alright, we have G-Apps installed, and actually I'm an idiot because on the back side of this sheet it shows an actual picture of your connector. So yeah, looks like I was incorrect, and it is flipped. So it's this larger red wire. There's actually two red wires, one on top of the other, and that's the one you want to tap into. And here's little notes here, tips. There may be a delay of up to 10 to 20 seconds before original reverse camera will appear. If reverse image needs to appear quicker, you can press the power volume button to turn off the audio, and it will allow the reverse camera image to appear in normal speed. That was an issue I had on the LS430. You have to wait like forever for the reverse cam to turn on. So I'm going to try that on the 430, but keep it in mind it's going to do that unless you hit the power. So here's our G-apps. Now we're going to install it. This might take a bit, so you're going to see like reboot screens and all sorts of stuff and lines and all this. So let it go through this process and you'll see it's installing on here. And I'll start the video again when it's actually done. This is going to take a few minutes. Alright, so we're back. G-apps is installed, and this is how you go through the process to kind of set everything up. You have to connect to Wi-Fi again. Okay, let me enter this and get it all set up, and then I'll be back again. Alright, we're up and running. It's connected to the internet. Checking for updates. And what's nice is you can use it independently of your phone. So it's super, super cool. You can copy your data from your phone or whatever or somewhere else, but I always like setting up as new. Then you can install just exactly what apps you want and need on this thing. Like a weather app would be cool because you can see the radar and all that kind of stuff, or an OBD2 app so you can view like gauges on here, and then connect to your OBD2 port. So the possibilities are endless. So now it's the same. You just gotta sign into your Google account, and then you can access the Play Store. So I'll sign into here and then be back in a second. Alright, so once you go through the Google Play setup and you log into your account, after installing G-apps, it'll send you back here. Now you want to press plus, go to apps, and you'll see the Play Store here now. And I don't know why it's doing this. It's like cutting in and out and going back to the main screen. I have to investigate this further. Alright, so I fixed that problem. It was just the harness at the stereo that was kind of twisted and too tight. So I fixed that. Like I was saying, here's the Play Store now. And the only thing I'm connected to now is my phone hotspot. So now it's exactly like you know, a new Android device. So let's say I want to install like YouTube, because this way you can watch, you know, videos instead of just the basic YouTube audio. So that'll install. Bing, bada boom. So is it worth the extra $100-some bucks from the VLITE to the VL2? Yes. Although, I mean, a lot of times I'm just going to hook up my phone on Android Auto and go. But I'm sure I'll find a use for this one way or another. And I don't know if the actual interface is different. So for example, like if you're using Google Maps or Waze on here versus using them through Android Auto, I don't know if one or the other is better, or if just the display and how it displays it's a little bit different. That I haven't checked into. So here YouTube's installed. Let's say we want, this is actually pretty cool. I did this on the GX yesterday. Let's do like a weather, because then you can pull up a radar like as you're driving, which, you know, it's cool. You can just pull up on your phone, but it's kind of cool just to have it on your navigation display as you're driving down the road. You want to see like what those clouds are doing, or if there's storms coming in or whatever. So we'll get this hooked up here and show you how that looks. So the ISF, I do still have the ISF. I could get another one, another GROM for that, because that would actually be the most useful, because I could set up the gauges to display in the display here instead of on my phone, so I can monitor like ignition timing, knock, feedback, all that kind of stuff just right on the nav screen. So that's pretty cool. So I'll check our radar here for my location, so since it knows kind of where we are based on the GPS and everything. We're in Wisconsin, yes, sure. Alright, so there's our weather, and here's our radar. Come on, come on. Obviously you can't do this with just Android Auto, like you can't install different apps. There's only certain apps I think that are like allowed to be used on Android Auto through your cell phone, if that makes sense. But if you do it this way, you can install anything. I don't know why it's taking so long to pull up the radar. Well, once it comes up, I'm going to stop the video and then just come back, because I don't know what's going on with this thing. Alright, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to waste any more time on Play Store. If you want to hook up your phone, you click on Android Auto, and then it'll connect that way, and you can see everything on your phone. So, I'm going to get this all back together, clean all the wiring up, and yeah, if you have any questions, let me know.